Paris, May 1925. Five of the city's most successful scrap metal dealers receive mysterious letters on official French government stationery. They're invited to a secret meeting at the Hôtel de Crillon, one of the most luxurious hotels in Paris. The letter is marked confidential. When they arrive, a charming man in an expensive suit introduces himself as the Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. He tells them something shocking. The French government has decided to tear down the Eiffel Tower. It's too expensive to maintain, too rusty, and they want it gone. He's looking for the right company to buy it for scrap metal. Within days, one dealer pays him 70,000 francs, over $100,000 today, plus a massive bribe. The man takes the money and vanishes. 1 month later, he comes back and sells it again to a different dealer for another fortune. His name was Victor Lustig, Count Victor Lustig, though he was never actually a count. He was, however, the smoothest con man who ever lived. He swindled Al Capone, he escaped from prison using bedsheets, and he ended his days in Alcatraz with a postcard of the Eiffel Tower taped to his cell wall. This is his story. Victor Lustig was born January 4, 1890, in Hostine, a small town in Austria-Hungary, now part of the Czech Republic. His father was a tobacco salesman, possibly the town mayor. But Victor was bored, desperately bored. He was brilliant. He spoke 5 languages fluently: Czech, German, French, English, and Italian. He had charm that could melt steel, and he had zero interest in an honest life. By age 19, Lustig left home for Paris. He studied at the Sorbonne, briefly, very briefly, because he discovered something far more lucrative than education: gambling and cheating at gambling. During a card game, he seduced the wrong woman, the girlfriend of a jealous Frenchman who slashed him across the face with a knife. The scar stayed with him forever, but so did the lesson: never get caught. When World War I ended, Lustig found his perfect hunting ground: luxury ocean liners crossing the Atlantic between Europe and America. He would dress in expensive suits, claim to be a European count, and target wealthy passengers. He'd sell them investments in fake Broadway productions. He'd win their money at rigged card games. But Lustig's greatest scam from this period was the Romanian money box. He built a mahogany box, beautiful, complex, covered in brass dials and mechanisms. He'd tell his marks it was a secret machine that could duplicate money. You insert a $100 bill, wait 6 hours while the chemicals process, and out come 2 perfect copies. The victims would pay $20,000, sometimes $40,000 for the box. By the time they discovered it was loaded with just 2 or 3 pre-made counterfeit bills, Lustig was gone, halfway across the ocean. By 1925, Lustig had made a fortune, but he was restless. He wanted something bigger, something impossible, something legendary. Then one day, in his Paris hotel room, he read a newspaper article. The headline: "What should be done about the Eiffel Tower?" The article explained that the Eiffel Tower was falling apart, rusting, expensive to maintain. Built for the 1889 World's Fair, it was only supposed to stand for 20 years. Now, 36 years later, many Parisians hated it. They called it an eyesore, a metal monstrosity. The article suggested, almost in passing, that maybe the city should just tear it down and sell it for scrap metal. Lustig read that line and smiled. He had his mark: an entire city. Lustig hired a forger to create perfect French government stationery, complete with official seals and watermarks. He rented a suite at the Hôtel de Crillon on Place de la Concorde, the most expensive hotel in Paris. Then, posing as Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs, he sent confidential letters to the 5 biggest scrap metal dealers in Paris, inviting them to discuss a matter of extreme national sensitivity. May 1925. The five dealers arrive at the hotel, confused but intrigued. Lustig meets them in an elegant suite. He's perfectly dressed, professional. He gets straight to business. Gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you must remain absolutely confidential. The Eiffel Tower is a disaster. Maintenance costs are bankrupting the city. Engineering reports show structural faults. The government has made the difficult decision to tear it down and sell it for scrap metal. But we cannot announce this publicly. The backlash would be enormous. We need to find the right company, quietly. The dealers are stunned, but they believe him. Why wouldn't they? He has official stationery. He's in the Creole. He speaks like a bureaucrat, and the story makes sense. Everyone knows the tower is controversial. Lustig then takes them on a personal tour of the Eiffel Tower, arriving in a government limousine. He shows them the rust, the structural problems. He estimates the weight of scrap metal, over 7,000 tons of iron, worth a fortune. As the dealers submit their bids, Lustig watches them carefully. He's looking for weakness, insecurity, ambition, and he finds it. André Poisson. Poisson is new to Parisian high society, desperate to prove himself, desperate for the prestige of being the man who bought the Eiffel Tower. Perfect. Lustig arranges a private meeting, and then he makes a brilliant move. He hints that he's corrupt. He complains that government salaries are too low for the lifestyle he deserves. Poisson understands immediately. A bribe is expected. Poisson is thrilled. To him, corruption proves this is real. Only a genuine government official would demand a bribe. He pays him 70,000 francs, about $300,000 today, plus a massive bribe. The man takes the money and vanishes, gone, to Austria, with the money. Days pass. Poisson waits for instructions to begin demolition. Nothing. Weeks pass. He starts to realize he's been conned. But here's the genius of Lustig's plan. Poisson is too embarrassed to go to the police. How would it look? I paid a fortune to buy the Eiffel Tower and it wasn't real? He'd be the laughingstock of Paris. So he stays silent. Lustig never makes the news. And 1 month later, Lustig returns to Paris and does it again. Lustig sends letters to 5 new scrap dealers. Different names, same story, same hotel, same tour, and he finds another mark. This time, he's about to collect the money when the dealer gets suspicious and contacts the police. Lustig barely escapes France in time, but it doesn't matter. He's already proven he could sell the Eiffel Tower twice. With Europe too hot, Lustig fled to America. Chicago, the roaring 20s, gangsters, prohibition, and the most dangerous man in America, Al Capone. Most con men would never dare approach Scarface, but Lustig wasn't most con men. He walked into Capone's headquarters and pitched him a business deal. "Mr. Capone, I have an opportunity in the stock market, a sure thing. If you invest $50,000, I'll double your money in 60 days. Capone was suspicious, but something about Lustig's confidence intrigued him. He handed over the cash. Lustig took the money, put it in a safe deposit box, and waited. Exactly 60 days later, he returned to Capone's office. "Mr. Capone," he said sadly, "I'm afraid the deal fell through. The company went bankrupt, but I can't keep your money. Here's every dollar back." Capone was stunned. In his world, nobody returned money, ever. He thought, this man is honest. Impressed, Capone reached into his desk and pulled out $5,000 in cash. "For your trouble, to help you get back on your feet." Lustig took the money and left. That was the scam. The whole thing. He'd earned $5,000 by being honest for exactly 60 days. And Capone never realized he'd been played. Years later, when they both ended up in Alcatraz, Capone actually protected Lustig from other inmates. But Lustig's luck was running out. In 1930, he partnered with a chemist and started counterfeiting $100 bills, real, perfect counterfeits. Over 5 years, they flooded America with over $2 million in fake money. The Secret Service was hunting him. In May 1935, they finally caught him on a New York street corner. Agent Peter Rubano, who'd chased him for years, whispered, "Hands in the air, Count." But even then, Lustig wasn't done. On September 1st, 1935, the day before his trial, he escaped from the Federal Detention Center in Manhattan. He made a rope from bedsheets, cut through the window bars, and climbed down the building. When people on the street stopped and stared, he pulled out a rag and pretended to be a window cleaner. They applauded. He bowed and ran. He was free for 27 days before they caught him again in Pittsburgh. November 1935. Lustig finally stood trial for counterfeiting. The judge sentenced him to 20 years in Alcatraz, America's most secure prison. The Secret Service agent who arrested him leaned over and whispered, "Count, you're the smoothest con man that ever lived." Alcatraz, the Rock, the most infamous prison in America. Lustig arrived in late 1935, prisoner number AZ-479. He was different from the other inmates, refined, multilingual, well-dressed even in prison clothes. He didn't fit, and that made him a target. Except for one thing. Al Capone was also in Alcatraz, and Capone remembered the honest man who'd returned his money. He ordered his people to protect Lustig. The con man was safe, protected by the gangster he'd once fooled. Over his years in Alcatraz, Lustig filed over 1,100 medical complaints. Prison guards thought he was faking, just another con. But in March 1947, they realized he was genuinely sick, pneumonia. He was transferred to a medical facility in Missouri. On March 11, 1947, at 8:30 p.m., Victor Lustig died, age 57. His death certificate listed his occupation as apprentice salesman, the ultimate joke, the man who sold the Eiffel Tower twice, who conned Al Capone, who escaped from prison using bedsheets, and he died in Alcatraz, with a postcard of his greatest triumph taped to his wall. Some called him a criminal, others called him an artist, but everyone agreed Victor Lustig was the smoothest con man who ever lived. And somewhere in a Parisian archive, there might still be fake government documents offering the Eiffel Tower for sale.